Hey guys, it's Alex coming at you from Southern California. Hope everybody's well. Just figured I'd come on and show. I think I got 4 records. They're all reissues, but all incredible records, and really happy to that these were reissued. I can highly recommend all 4 of these. Before that, I'll show what's playing in the background. There's a band called Flute, spelled F-L-U-G-H-T. Oddly enough, despite the sort of German name, it is a Mexican band, and this is from 1981. Recorded in Burbank, California, but like I said, a Mexican record. First time spinning it, so I don't know what to expect. It was relatively inexpensive, looked very interesting. Always looking for new interesting Mexican bands to check out, so let me know if you like that, or if you know anything about this band. They're pretty new to me, so. And that sort of segues into this first record. So I got a package in the mail today from Spain unexpectedly. I guess it was an order I put in months and months ago on Bandcamp via a reissue label, which I was not familiar with. It's called Glossy Mistakes is the name of the label, out of I think Madrid possibly, but definitely out of Spain. And so this is the record, and I'll show the other one in some other video. But so this is Quetzalcoatl, who is the Mexican, the Aztec snake king. That's the name of. That's where the name comes from. There's a record that I had, I had seen the cover, and then I saw that it was had recently been reissued for the first time. It's a very rare record. I think it's from recorded in 1977, and this again is a Mexican record. I've spun it a couple times today, and it's absolutely a fantastic record. So what it is, it's basically this guy by the name of Francisco Javier Gusella, who goes by Tito, and basically he was a pretty early adopter of synthesizers, the Mini Moog and the ARP Odyssey in particular. Here's I'm just reading a little bit from the insert there, and so this was a reissue that was authorized by him, available, first reissue that's been available, and yeah, it's a really nice blend of traditional Mexican instruments. As the cover would suggest. I think the cover's kind of perfect, right? You have that combination of cosmic, German Berlin School influence, and at the same time, the traditional elements. So I believe he plays all the instruments here, and there's many electronic synthesizers and guitars, and he does play, I think, some acoustic guitar, and unlike the approach of a guy like this guy who I was just listening to today, like Jorge Reyes, who is more interested in using replicas or the exact native Aztec or Mayan instruments in his music. In fact, a lot of his musicians are natives. For Jorge Reyes, he was more interested, I think, in sort of capturing the essence of the music without actually, having it be, authentic. So there really are not, as far as I can tell, any, traditional instruments here. But, he does play some acoustic guitar. There's some strings and stuff that, definitely give it that pre-Hispanic vibe. Really cool record. Highly recommended. It's a European reissue, so unfortunately I'm not sure how widely available it will be in the U.S. But definitely check it out. You can listen to it on Bandcamp. So it's Quetzalcoatl by Tito. Good stuff. That's a good segue to this one. Another artist who's blending electronics with traditional influences. This is a masterpiece by a man called Dariush Dalat Shahi. He's a Iranian or Persian gentleman. This record, I believe, is from 1983. He recorded this when he was doing graduate studies at Columbia University in New York. And as the title says, is electronic music for tar and sitar. The tar and sitar being traditional Persian stringed instruments, each with its unique qualities. And so what this is every single track is a combination of tar and electronics, or the sitar and electronics. It's like most of the tracks are tar and electronics. And I think I'm gonna do Needledrops for some of these because I think words can't quite describe how good these records are. Just a perfect blend of electronics, and I think his electronics remind me a little bit of some of the early French electronic composers, and even guys like Michel Rodolphe. So combine that and juxtapose that with the primitive, the ancient, I should say, sounds of the sitar and the tar, and the combination is absolutely incredible. So this is originally on the Folkways label, reissued on this reissue label I'd never heard of. It's called Dead Cert. It says it's pressed in England. Really excellent pressing. I believe there's maybe an earlier repress that was a little bit nicer. This is just kind of at least the packaging is pretty standard, but really nice job on the record itself, and highly recommended. Pretty sure Chris Cole has an original of this, and I would love to have one day. Next one, an artist that was completely unknown to me. I think I read something about him online or something, and it sparked my interest. In fact, I think this is more of a compilation than a reissue, although all the material is from cassette that this guy did, Charlie Morrow. The compilation is called Toot Toot, and there's a picture of him as a young man, very much one of these New York eccentrics that was kind of running around and doing amazing things back in the 1970s. And another one of these guys, that had a classical, background, and then kind of did that briefly, and kind of went off and did his own thing. And it's an amazing story. And I would say that maybe the music here is more fascinating and interesting than essential, but there's an amazing booklet in here, and basically I'll just read very quickly sort of his philosophy, which is talking about it says the music in the outer world is a great soup in which there's ambience, a sense of location, and specific sounds in different places. The other universe is the inner world, the music that is inside that comes to life when it hears music from the outside, or in the creation of music for that outside. The two work together toward fulfillment, inside, outside, together. The inner music is, in fact, I think, kind of steady heartbeat that runs through your whole life, the beat that has its own dimension. So he was very much interested in this outer music, I guess, which is about capturing the ambience of the space. And so he would have all these a lot of public performances with many different musicians. Think of it sort of a combination between like Steve Reich and sort of field recordings. I mean, he would do recordings with sort of marching bands and bugles and really amazing stuff. He was clearly a brilliant mind, and he organized all these outdoor events and concerts, and as you can tell from that back here, he's quite a character, for sure. And so really interesting guy, Charlie Morrow. He is later in life, and I guess he's still alive, and he's like sort of like an audio consultant, and he's like super interested in like virtual reality, but as it relates to audio and like immersive, like 360 sound technologies and stuff like that. So yeah, he's still very much relevant and just like I said, a fascinating guy. Highly recommended. This is reissued or issued on this Recital 41 label, which there's an ambient artist, Sean McCann, here from LA, and I believe that's his label. In fact, I think he's the one that put this whole thing together. And there's a picture of him with Charlie there, with Sean and Charlie. So yeah, check that out. It's a very interesting record for sure. And lastly, another incredible record by another brilliant guy. This is Byron Pope's music for Earth Dwellers and Star Seekers. A very elusive record from the early 80s, I think from 1982 or 83, reissued last year. I think it was distributed by Light in the Attic. They did a really nice job with the pressing here, and so this guy's basically sort of a relatively unknown saxophone player. He was in the same circles as John Coltrane at one point. I mean, he was close friends with him, but never really got his due. He was actually very interested in teaching, and he was a professor in a college in Seattle for a while. So this is the only record that he ever put out. He did appear in a couple other things sporadically. This was actually recorded in Paris, and it features Byron Pope on the alto sax. Then you got a bass player, piano player, and then you have 3 percussionists, including a guy playing the berimbau, which is a Brazilian percussion instrument with like 1 string. and yeah, there's a lot of things that a lot of influences here. And, certainly there's a little bit of that Coltrane, Pharoah Sanders school, in his sax playing, but beyond that, I mean, you can hear. I mean, there's tracks here that are, very much in that sort of spiritual Afrocentric, mode. Higher energy stuff. Then there's stuff there's a little more hints more like a sort of fusiony things with. 'Cause I'm pretty sure the bass player alternates between electric and acoustic bass, and so some of the electric bass tracks are definitely have a little bit more of a modern feel to them. And then that track with the Brazilian percussion instrument is outstanding. One of the highlights for sure. This whole record from track to track, start to finish, is absolutely incredible. And to think that it was made in the early '80s is particularly perplexing. Like I said, I mean, there are hints of a more modern sound, but in general, it's just it certainly fits with a lot of the great jazz records of the '70s for sure. It's Byron Pope, music for Earth Dwellers and Star Seekers. So check that out. I think this is pretty widely available as well. So anyway, that's all I had. Hope you guys enjoyed. Enjoying this record, Flute. Let me know what you think. Take care, guys.